Hi everyone, good day. So our topic for today is all about the limits of trigonometric function. But before we proceed to the main topic, let's discuss first unit circle. So this is a unit circle wherein each angle is equivalent to a specific coordinate. So let's say we have 0 degrees, that's basically equal to 1 comma 0. For 30 degrees, that's equal to square root of 3 over 2 comma 1/2. Then for 45 degrees, that's equivalent to square root of 2 over 2 comma square root of 2 over 2. While for 60 degrees, we have 1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2. Then we also have the 90 degrees, which is equivalent to 0 comma 1, and so on and so forth. So for this lesson, I'll teach you the tricks on how you'll be able to memorize this all. Okay, so we will use this, or we will use our left hand. So we'll assign a degree or a specific value in each finger. So let's say, for example, for the a little finger, we'll assign 0 degrees. While for the ring finger, we'll assign 30 degrees or pi over 6. While for the middle finger, we'll assign 45 degrees, or that's a pi over 4 in radian. Then for the index finger, will assign 60 degrees or pi over 3. Then, or lastly, for the thumb, we'll assign 90 degrees, or that's pi over 2. Okay, so every time that we'll get, let's say, cosine of this angle, what you'll get is simply this value, that's square root of something over 2. Okay, so how are we going to apply this now? So let's say you're asked class to get the cosine of 60 degrees. So what you need to do is, this is basically equal to square root of something over 2 automatically. But of course, what is inside the square root? So this is the thing that we need to know. So try to locate first the 60 degrees on your left hand. So basically, this is the 60 degrees, right? So in that case, if we're talking about cosine, what you need to do is you just need to count, okay? You just need to count the the finger starting on your thumb. So how many fingers left starting on your thumb? So in that case, we only have one, right? So in that case, we'll have square root of, that's simply as 1 because one finger's left. So in that case, the square root of 1, that's 1/2. Okay, so I hope we're clear with this one. Next, how about, sir, the sine? Let's say sine 60 degrees as well. So in that case, whenever you want to get the sine of 60 degrees, so again, you just need to locate the 60 degrees, and of course, this is the same. But for the sine, since we're looking for the sine, we'll start now with the little finger, and we'll count it as little finger. So how many fingers left? So we have 1, 2, and 3, right? So in that case, that's basically square root of how many fingers left? That's 3. From the, again, from the little finger over again 2. So that's basically your sine 60 degrees. Okay? How about the sine, let's say 45 degrees? So if you want to get the sine of 45 degrees, then of course, you just need to locate first the 45 degrees wherein it is located on your middle finger. So in that case, since we're looking for sine, so again, we'll start with the little finger. So how many fingers starting from the left or from the little finger we have? So that's square root of how many fingers? That's 2. So it means that sine 45 is equivalent to square root of 2 over 2. Okay? So I hope we're all clear. Okay, sir, but what if we have an angle which is more than 90 degrees? So let's consider this. So what if, sir, we have sine of 225 degrees, and we know that 225 degrees um can't be located on the given finger because this is only 90 degrees, or this is limited only for 90 degrees special angle. So in that case, that's the time that we'll discuss now the reference angle. Okay? So what we will do first is we will try to locate first the angle of 225. So of course, one or half rotation will be equal to, of course, 180. This is 180. Then more likely, since 225 might be located on the third quadrant, so this is the angle that's 225 degrees. So in that case, it means that sine 225 degrees is located on the third quadrant. So what we will do, class, is we will get the reference angle. So what is the reference angle? Actually, the reference angle is the angle measured from the x-axis to the terminal side of the angle. So in that case, it means that this will become now the reference angle. So what will be the reference angle that we can have here? So that's 225 minus 180. That's how we'll get the reference angle. So this is equal to what? So that's equal to 45 degrees. So in that case now, what we will do is we'll just need to get the sine of 45 degrees. But again, we need to consider the sine of the angle. So what is the sine of the coordinate in the third quadrant? So of course, that's negative and negative. But we're looking for sine, so the y coordinate will be negative, right? That's negative comma negative. If we have an angle that is located on the third quadrant. So in that case, we'll just need to write this sine of 45 degrees. Then we need to take note that the answer must be negative because we're talking about an angle that is located on the third quadrant. Then sine 45 is this. 45 degrees is this one. Then you just need to count the number of fingers from the little finger. So that's square negative square root of course we have 1, 2. 2 fingers. Then that's over 2. So it means that sine of 225 degrees is just equal to negative square root of 2 over 2. And that's how we do it. Okay, so let's have an example. So let's consider this. And for this example, we're asked to evaluate the limits of the following. So we're asked to get the limit of cosine x over tangent or tan x minus sine x as x approaches to pi over 4. So in that case, of course, what you need to do is you just need to rewrite it first in terms of sine and cosine. So in that case, we'll have the limit of cosine x over tan x. We know that tan x class is just equal to what? That's equal to sine x over cosine x. Right? So this will become sine x over cosine x minus sine x. So in which, as x approaches to pi over 4, so in which this will lead to what? So you just need to substitute it directly. So we'll have now cosine of pi over 4 over sine of pi over 4 over cosine of pi over 4 minus sine of pi over 4 as well. Then you just need to evaluate this. So that's cosine over cosine pi over 4. That's using your hand. So again, that's equal to square root of 2 over 2 over sine pi over 4 is same. This has the same value, the square root of 2 over 2 over that square root of 2 over 2 as well. For cosine pi over 4. Then this will become so 2 over 2 as well. So in that case, class, if you have a fraction that is over a fraction, then you just need to get the LCD. So the LCD is basically 2, so you just need to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2, right? So in that case, this will become equal to what? So this will become equal to square root of 2 over 2. So I will not going to multiply the 2 first, but I will just simplify it. So this will become equal to 1. So that's equal to over 1 minus square root of 2 over 2. Then that's the time that I will multiply now the 2 over 2 or the LCD. So this will become equal to what? That's square root of 2 over 2 times 1, that's 2, minus square root of 2. Then this will be now the answer. But again, if you are seeing a square root sign on the denominator, so you can actually get the conjugate of it, no? And based on the conjugate, if you have a plus b times a minus b, then this is just equal to, that's a squared minus b squared. So in that case, we will multiply now the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate. So that's 2. We'll just get the denominator, but again, we'll have the opposite sign. Or we'll take the opposite sign. So this will become like this. So in that case, you just need to simplify this. So this will become square root of 2 times 2 plus square root of 2 over, this will lead to sum and difference of square. So this will lead to a squared minus b squared. So that's 4 minus, that's 2, right? Then you just need to simplify this. So you just need to simplify this since we have now the answer, which is square root of 2 times 2 plus square root of 2 over 4 minus 2. So this can be this can lead to square root of 2 times 2, that's 2 square root of 2 plus, of course, square root of 2 times square root of 2, that's 2 over 2. Then as you can see here, we can factor out 2 on the numerator. So that's 2 square root 2 times square root of 2 plus 1 over 2. And you can still cancel this out. So it means that the value is simply a square root of 2 plus 1. So this is the value that we're looking for. Okay, so we hope we're dealing with this one. Okay, let's proceed now to the next one. So what if we have this? What if we were asked to evaluate the limit of secant x minus tangent x over cotangent x as x approaches pi over 6? Okay, so now what we will do is we'll just simplify this first in terms of sine and cosine. So in that case, this can be evaluated as the limit of secant. We know that secant x is just equal to 1 over, that's 1 over cosine x, right? Then tangent x can be written as sine x over cosine x. While for cotangent x, this is just equal to cosine x over sine x. If you will remember the trigo identities that you had during your senior high school. So this will become, that's 1 over cosine x minus sine x over cosine x over cosine x over sine x. Right? Then as x approaches to pi over 6. Okay. So actually, you can one thing that you can consider here is you can substitute directly the pi over 6. But let's try another approach on how we'll able to solve this. So what you can do here to simply solve this is you can actually simplify the equation first that we have. So again, if we have a fraction over a fraction, so what you'll do is you just need to multiply both the numerator and the numerator by the LCD. So what is the LCD, class? So the LCD of this is cosine x times sine x, right? So we will multiply both numerator and denominator by cosine x times sine x. Okay, so we'll multiply this and we'll result to what? So that's the limit of cosine x times sine x times cosine x. So we'll multiply this. So this will become equal to, that's simply a sine x. Then multiplying this, so this will become equal to minus sine x. Of course, this will become sine x squared, no, or sine squared x, right? Then all over this times this. So what will happen is this will become equal to what? That's equal to cosine squared or cosine x squared as x approaches to pi over 6. Okay, so what you need to do now is you can now substitute it directly. So this will become sine of pi over 6 minus sine of pi over 6 squared over cosine of pi over 6 then squared as well. So before we can square the sine and the cosine, so of course we just need to evaluate it first. So if you will evaluate it first, what you'll have is you will have this one. So what is sine pi over 6? So using your hand, class, this is the pi over 6, right? So that's 30 degrees. So again, if you're looking for sine, you just need to start from the little finger. So that's 1/2, right? So the sine pi over 6 is just 1/2 minus, of course, 1/2 squared over cosine pi over 6. So we'll have pi over 6. So again, we'll start with that with our thumb to get the cosine of pi over 6. So 1, 2, and 3. So we have 3. So that's basically square root of 3 over 2 then squared. Then simplifying, this will lead to 1/2 minus, of course, 1/4 over square you can take the square of 3, square root of 3 rather, so that's 3 over 4. Then again, you can take this now. Take the LCD, that's 4, then multiply, that's 4 times 1/2, so that's 2. 4 times negative 1/4, that's negative 1 over 4 times 3/4, that's equal to, of course, 3. So this will lead now to 1/3. So it means that the value of this is simply as 1 over 3. Okay, let's have the next one. So what if you were asked to have this one now? So we're asked to get the limit of secant squared minus tangent squared x over sine squared x plus cosine squared x over cosecant x. Okay, so please do take note that using the trigonometric identities that we have, so we have secant squared x is equal to tangent squared x plus 1, right? So as you can see on the numerator, this is basically secant squared x minus tangent squared x. And if you will manipulate this by transposing tangent squared on the left side, so it means that this numerator is just equal to what? This is just equal to 1. So in that case, if you will try to apply the trigonometric identities, that's equal to 1 over what? Sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal as well to 1. So that's 1 over 1 over what is cosecant x class? That's equal to, right? So that's equal to 1 over sine x, right? Or maybe we can just write this as cosecant x as x approaches to pi over 3. So in that case, of course, you just need to take the reciprocal of this because this is 1 over a fraction. So you can just take the reciprocal of this. So that's the limit of cosecant x as x approaches pi over 3. And in this case, we must write it in terms of sign so that this can be written as limit of 1 over sine x as x approaches to pi over 3. So in that case, we can now substitute it directly. So that's 1 over sine of pi over 3. So as you can see here, we can evaluate this, which is sine pi over 3 is located on the on your index finger. So this is pi over 3. But again, we're looking for sine. So sine will be what? So you just need to count 1, 2, and 3. So this is just equivalent to, that's 1 over square root of 3 over 2. Then you just need to take the reciprocal of this. That's 2 over square root of 3. Then we have a denominator which is a radical, so we need to multiply it by the radical on your denominator. So this will lead to 2 square root of 3 over 3. So this is now the answer that we're looking for. Okay? Next, we also have the special limit theorems of trigonometric functions. So um we have also the special limit theorems of trigonometric function wherein we have the limit of sine x is just equal to 1 as x approaches to 0. And we also have the limit of I think there's something. This must be over x class. Yeah. This must be like this. So the limit of sine x over x as x approaches to 0 is just equal to 1. Then we also have the second theorem wherein the limit of 1 minus cosine x over x is just equal to 0. So these are the theorems that we must memorize enable for us to answer some of the problems related to this. So what does the first theorem say? So in that case, if you have sine x, so the angle inside the trigonometric function sine must be equal to the denominator. That's the thing that you need to consider to make it equal to 1. Again, as x approaches 0. Then, same goes with this, the value inside the cosine, the angle value inside the cosine must be the same with the denominator of this whole function to make this equal to 0. Okay? So let's try some example regarding this. So let's say we're asked to evaluate the limit of the following wherein we have the limit of 1 minus cosine 2x over 4x as x approaches to 0. So we can't apply the theorem right away. Or we can't apply this theorem right away because again, what you're seeing here is this is 2, right? And this is 4x. And they are different. So in that case, what you need to do, class, is you just need to make it or make the denominator as 2. No? So in that case, what we'll do is, of course, if we have this, so we can just rewrite this as the limit of 1 minus cosine 2x over, so we can rewrite this 4x as 2 times 2x. And as x approaches to 0, so in that case, I can just, through the property of limit, so I can just factor out 1/2. So because we have 2 here, an automatic 1 on the numerator, then we'll take now the limit of 1 minus cosine 2x over 2x as x approaches to 0. So again, can we apply now the theorem that we have? Can we apply this now? Since the angle inside the cosine is now 2x, and same goes with the denominator, same goes, or we have now the same angle here and the denominator. So in that case, we can apply now the theorem. So it means that this is just equal to what? So that's equal to 1/2 times this whole thing is just equal to 0. So in that case, this will become 0. So the answer will be 0 using the second theorem. Okay, how about this now? So what if we're asked to evaluate sine 4x over x as x approaches to 0? So in this case now, our goal is to make the denominator equal to 4x. But how are we going to do that? So in that case, we'll try to rewrite first the given. So that's the limit of sine 4x over x as x approaches to 0. So again, you can't apply the first theorem right away. You can't apply this right away. Because again, the denominator must be 4x. So in that case, what I'll do, class, is I will multiply now 4 over, or will multiply now 4 on the denominator. So of course, if you will multiply 4 on the denominator, you must multiply as well 4 in the numerator. So in simpler explanation, you just multiply 1 because 4 over 4 is just 1. Right? So in that case, for us to use the theorem, we will multiply this. So in that case, this will be equal now to what? That's the limit of 4 sine 4x over 4x as x approaches to 0. But again, we can't use this because there's 4 in here. So in that case, what we will do is we will use the property of limit, wherein we can place this out. So in that case, we can now have the 4 limit of sine 4x over 4x as x approaches to 0. So in that case, this is just equivalent now to 1 because the angle inside the sine and the denominator are both 4x. So in that case, that's equal to 4 times what is the equivalent of this? This is just equal to 1. So this will become, or this will lead to 4. Okay, then lastly, what if we have this example wherein we have the limit of sine squared 3x over x squared as x approaches to 0. So in that case, what we will do here, class, is we can rewrite this since we can apply the first theorem right away. So this will become limit of sine. So we will write this one since both of the numerator and denominator are being squared. So we can just factor out the squared. So this will become sine 3x over x. Then we will write square here. And x approaches to 0. Then applying class the property of limit. So this can be written as the limit of sine 3x over x as x approaches to 0. Then the answer will be squared. So this is just like the same, applying the property of limit. So in that case, our main problem now is to make the denominator equal to 3x. So how are we going to do that? So of course, we just need to multiply 3 on the numerator and 3 on the denominator. So this will become now the limit of sine 3x over x as x approaches to 0. So you just need to multiply 3 and 3. Then of course, don't forget the square. So in that case, this will lead now to the limit of that's 3 sine 3x over 3x as x approaches to 0, then whole thing are being squared. Then what will be the next thing? So the next thing here, class, is you can just we have the limit of 3 sine 3x over 3x as x approaches to 0, wherein this whole thing are being squared. So again, what you need to do, class, is you can square first the 3, right? So in this, or we can separate this by placing this outside. So this will become equal to, that's 3 squared times the limit of sine 3x over 3x as x approaches to 0, then squared. So in that case, what is 3 squared? That's equal to 9. Then what is the value of this thing? That's 1, then squared. So this will become equal to 9. So this will become now the value of this given. Okay, so I hope you understand the topic for today. Thank you.